Hi, my name is Bill Marlowe, and I'd like to share with you an overview of anchored instruction theory. E-learning activities have become so participant-oriented. All multimedia now is sort of synonymous with e-learning. So it's very hands-on and it's very modern. All the latest technology seems to be geared toward that more participative process, both for people with leisure and as well as training and learning. And a couple of things that make this happen. One is the smaller file size, the ability to take a lot of information and transmit it, make it available online and so on, makes it so much more easy to do now. And then all the other technologies surrounding that, the screen shares and all these other things, really have made e-learning become the go-to for most types of training. So when looking at different theories, I wanted to see, okay, how do you really break a theory down? And so this is what I found as it relates to this theory. So when we look first at the description and look at key terms, we see that this is a technology-centered learning approach that relies on activities that are designed around an anchor. Okay, thus the name anchor instruction. Next we go to evidence. So how are claims demonstrated? Learners exercise control through their participation, so they very much have hands-on control there. Applications. Stories are often utilized to engage learners. So the better the story, the more engaged they are, the more they participate and so on, and they get so much more out of it. Potential limitations. There is a reliance on a connection between the content and real life. So theoretically, things need to sync up, and it needs to be stories and examples that people can believe and understand, and in a lot of cases relate to real life experiences, so they really have that connection. Next, I looked at anchored instruction stages, so there's different parts of this. After the introduction, where the stage is set, familiarization is a big part. Is everyone on the same page? Are the expectations the same, and so on? With expansion, can the learners learn more about that topic? Is it something that interests them, and does it give them the opportunity to go further and learn more? With regard to plan, it's how are they going to approach this problem? Are suggestions made, but then are they also given the opportunity to get creative and participate more and engage the process? Transfer. If these concepts are based on real life and they're able to sync up, then there's the opportunity to find applications outside of that particular model, and then can they share these experiences? So is it something that they experience and they learn and they understand and they can articulate that to other people? Then we looked at some of the components. So anchored instruction components. It has to be meaningful content, and that certainly makes sense when we're saying it needs to be content that can sync with real life and stories and so on. So it has to be very practical and authentic, so it makes sense. And it's things that they would understand, and potentially things that they have done or know how to do or know of other people doing, those sorts of things. High value contribution of video. So the video component is so big in this because it's utilized in so many ways, both interactive or just viewing and maybe as an introduction and a prep for a given activity. So that's really, really a huge part of the anchored instruction components, and goal-focused problem solving. So what is that? What about the target and the strategies? This approach allows the learner to become intimately involved in deciding what the strategies are, making that way for themselves, identifying the different challenges that they'll have. So that's what makes it, in my mind, great, because it has so many applications that are practical and in real time. And then some of the principles. So the three big principles here are the instructors don't run everything. Essentially, they set it up and they make everything available, but then the learner comes in and takes control of their learning, of their engagement, and their level of participation. They can develop their own questioning process, which I think is great. So as they come up with, as they come upon obstacles, they can themselves and collaborate with others and come up with strategies that can address that and move them past that, rather than being instructed how to do that. Because they're involved in the process, they're doing that on their own. And it does help develop skills, because the more they learn to recognize what the challenges are in the process of this learning, and they come up with solutions on their own or with their groups. What happens is they just get better at that. So as those opportunities present themselves beyond that training opportunity, they're more comfortable. They believe, okay, I can do this. I've done this before. And so they become much more solution-oriented automatically rather than being reliant on other people. And the last thing was I want to look at some of the situations that would be ways you could apply this particular theory. And so there's a number of them here. Now, some of them are not as reliant on technology as others. So, for instance, the lecture is not going to necessarily be reliant on technology. But if you look at the examples there, it really covers a spectrum. And so that's another thing I like about this particular theory is it can really be taken and molded to fit whatever that delivery system is or whatever the need is. So if it's just straight lecture, or is it getting into some e-learning and simulations, right? Utilizing case studies and so on. So there's a lot of variety that's available to apply this theory to. And to my mind, that's what makes it such a terrific theory and so applicable and current and modern for all the opportunities that learners have today and those who are putting these programs together, the instructors and teachers and leaders, to be able to plug them into something that they can understand and is going to have practical value that they can get in and engage to have success. So that is my take on this theory. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to reading about and learning about all the others that you have done. Thank you.